Hello, hi, this is Bill and Averly Throne, and we're here to talk with you today about making memories in marriage and discuss the importance of those memories.
Mm-hmm.
Averly and I have been married since
1979.
very good. We knew each other for 2 years prior to that.
Mm-hmm. So I've known you 43 years.
43 years, and we've got an awful lot of memories. I've got a lot of them that come in the back of my mind, and we'll talk through a couple different types of memories we have, and then we'll relate that to spiritual truths, I think, from the gospel, which maybe you'll take something away from and apply it to your marriage. The first memory that I have that's really in my mind, of course, was that first night that I saw you.
Mm-hmm.
You were very beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
You were, and we were at the Officers Club up at the Naval Academy in 1977, and in walked Averly with a group of her friends. And one of those things, love at first sight, gravitate towards one another. And we spent the evening together there, talking and just spending time together. And then that Sunday, you came over to the Naval Academy.
I went to the Naval Academy to study.
Wow.
Yeah, study him.
There you go. So really, that's the first kind of memory that you can make, and those are instantaneous memories.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, I'll tell you, you never know when they're going to hit. You never know when they're going to happen, and they can really, really be glorious. I think instantaneous memories mean an awful lot. And the point you want to take away from an instantaneous memory is that, believe it or not, we're always making memories,
Yes,
for good or for bad.
exactly.
Yeah. You know, I think through the Gospels and Jesus, his life is memorialized in the Gospel. And what that means is it's a collection of memories that disciples had, followers of Jesus had, and they wrote those down. And Luke, as we all know, is explicit in that, right? He actually
Yes.
talked to people. And you can imagine having Luke come to you and say, tell me your favorite
Oh, yeah.
story of Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
And they would be full of instantaneous memories. And again, some good and some bad. The takeaway point is, again, that you always are making memories,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
My story from the gospel that hits me is, of course, when Jesus is in the Garden of Gethsemane and he's with his disciples, and then the band of soldiers come to arrest him. And there is Peter. And in one instant, he makes a decision to pull the sword out and take a swing at Malchus and cuts off his ear. And there's an
Yeah.
instantaneous memory there that's happened. And it wasn't a good one, right?
No.
I think people remember those things. Sometimes we kind of confuse grace with memory. And I
Yes.
think we can receive grace, and certainly Peter did. And there's the instantaneous memory of Jesus healing Malchus's ear.
Exactly.
But other than that, it's something that has stuck with whoever told that story, and presumably it's Peter itself, that
Yes.
negative memory stuck with him. And we have those as kids growing up, and we kind of impart those into our marriages sometimes too.
Yes.
Any other thoughts on that, honey?
Those negative ones can get way down deep in there, and they're quite challenging to expose and to get rid of them. So I don't know. For me, I'd rather make happy memories.
Happy memories are great.
Yeah.
Now, the way you make happy memories is, believe it or not, you have to work at it.
Yeah.
So instantaneous memories, you don't have to work at it. And maybe that's one of the signs of whether it's the right kind of memory or not. It's the amount of effort you have to put in. Now, we all have fun memories of things we did on an instant dare or whatever. When I saw Averly as an example, it was a great instant memory. But the other ones take some work. In our marriage, the things that we've done, the things that take work are certainly like planned memories.
Yes.
And that's the other extreme from instantaneous memories. You want to talk about Ireland for a minute?
Sure. We went to Ireland 2 years ago, and we saved and planned for, I don't know, probably 6 or 8 months ahead of time, and did all the research and learned all about Ireland, the Irish culture, because we both have Irish backgrounds, and, well, ancestors, I guess. And we were just so excited to go. We couldn't wait to get there.
That's right.
And honestly, it was the best vacation that we've ever had, and it was just fabulous. It was wonderful.
Right. So our trip to Ireland to me was really special because it was a culmination of planning that led up to that. And that memory will stay with us forever. So I think if you look at your marriage, it needs to have a number of those in there.
Yes.
You know, if it's something that happens like a trip to Ireland for us, which was kind of a once in a lifetime
Yes.
trip. And I think it's one of those things that we'll remember forever just because it was that way. But the other kind of planned memories are we have things that we do on a regular basis, a consistent basis, which are planned. They're repeatable memories, if you
Yes.
will. They're things that are special and important. And I know, Averly, we've got quite a few family vacations that we do that are really special to
Yes.
you, right?
Yes. We, there for the longest time, used to go to Los Angeles every summer to see Bill's family. And now his mom lives with us, so that's a wonderful opportunity. We don't travel to LA, we just travel down the hall. And to see his mom.
Just like Disneyland.
Just like
It
Disneyland,
is.
only
It's,
the rides are safer. But every summer we went to the oceanfront and surfed and would snorkel and play in the sand. And then we went to Disneyland, and you always had to go to Disneyland. It was so much fun. And the years that we went to Knott's Island, we're like, man, should have gone to Disneyland.
That's right.
What were we thinking? So it was great. Those were great family memories.
And currently what we do is Easter break, we have a chance, A Release family has a really small cabin up in the mountains outside of Charlottesville. And so every chance we get, we'll go up to Charlottesville to make memories up there too. And there's a lot that goes into that, and not so much the planning of it, but the actual forced time away together. And I know, A Release, this is one of your strengths. It's this idea of take your Bible, take your books. We don't have any internet access up there. Bring a bunch of B-grade movies to watch, popcorn, microwavable food, and we get a chance to go fishing and spend time with each other up there, and there's really nothing else to do. But that's an annual planned thing for us, what we do. It's a repeatable memory. Now, many of you have other ones that might revolve around holidays, such as Christmas are great repeatable memories.
Christmas. Every Christmas Eve we go to Busch Gardens, because when we lived in California for 18 years, we used to go to Disneyland. I can't even count how many times we've been to Disneyland, but we went to Disneyland every Christmas Eve. So now that we are East Coasters, we go to Busch Gardens every Christmas Eve.
And we take the family. So it's Jeff and it's Kelly and it's the boys and Maddox and Levi and Eric and Sarah when they're available.
And
we find
Jared
those
and
things.
Haley.
Exactly
Jared
right.
and Haley.
You know, in the Gospels, I think through each one of these things, and they all have an application, right? So I think from certainly from this repeatable annual thing, we focus in on the Lord's Supper, and we think about that when Jesus was really clear about do this in remembrance of me. And maybe it escapes our attention that for 3 years as devout and observant Jews, that the disciples spent Passover with Jesus. That's my suspicion. And so for them, they probably have really, really fond memories of that Passover meal and having it every year. And it meant something to them, just like these memories will have for you and your family moving forward. I know with Jeff, with his boys, with some of these family traditions he's carried over, and he's created some of his own. Things like Taco Thanksgiving. It's another one that he's come up, a recurrent theme. And this helps for us to really maintain some continuity in our marriages over time. So it's not just a one-off thing like a long-term planned one, but it has some sort of continuity to your marriage. I think the last one that we're going to talk through with regard to memories is what I call kind of defining memories, you know, of who you are. Comical ones, they're not comical in the sense of funny, but they're memories that you'll hear people get eulogized for. The things that you hear about. Right? I remember when, golly, this guy always did this. And I know you have those kind of memories with your grandfather.
I do. I remember my grandfather, he was actually one of my most favorite people ever. And he was always generous and loving and fun. But every time I saw him, he would do this. Hey, really? And then as I got older, he would mess up my hair. And I was like, stop. And, you know, now I would love to just have him put his hand on my head and tease and laugh. But he was amazing. And I loved being in his home with my grandmother, who I'm named after. It was just some of my fondest long-term memories.
Right. And believe it or not, a little bit like the instantaneous memories we talked about early on, these defining memories are who you are. And your kids have these memories of you. And it's an idea of being cognizant and aware of these things. You know, if we were talking about Jesus here, walking through the Gospels and the memories of the Gospels, a defining memory to me would be Jesus taking care of the poor. If I was one of his disciples, quite honestly, I think I probably would have been frustrated. My heart's not that way. A Release is, mine's not, but it just didn't seem like he could walk past a poor person or someone in need without reaching out, taking time to meet their needs. To me, I've got places to go. I got things to do. But for Jesus, that was really one of the earmarks of who he was. And you see it as one of the defining principles of Jesus' life. And it really informed me of what Jesus was like as a memory. Any thoughts of yours with
Yes,
Jesus?
I think one of my favorite scriptures defining memories is in Luke chapter 2. Twice it says that Mary treasured these things in her heart. And of course, she's talking about her son Jesus, but it could easily sway over into our marriages, that I treasure things in my heart that Bill and I have done together, my family, experiences that we've had, and they're in there, never to be moved out.
Right. So here are the takeaways for you before we share some personal stuff, if you want to stick around for that. Number one is you're always making memories. I think you've got to be aware of that. And it should really force us to be reflective on who we are, what we do, how we behave in interactions with our spouses. You know, we hear the tail end of things when arguments occur and people ask those questions. How do I not? It's because you're not aware that the things you say have impact and they will be remembered. The things that you do have an impact and they will be remembered.
Yes.
Any other thoughts on that? Instantaneous memories.
I try to forget the negative ones. So.
We try, but sometimes they're not better.
Sometimes they stay in there.
Right.
So.
You're better off building those positive memories.
Yes.
And the way you build positive memories, this is the hard part, it takes work. I don't care if it's something that's planned, like a long-term trip that you're taking time to plan for. I don't care if it's a Friday night date night with your spouse, or if it's something you're doing on an annual basis. The secret to a lot of things in life, the secret in marriage and the secret in making great memories is the work that you put into it.
Yes.
For many of us, we don't like to hear that, but work is what it takes. You agree with that?
Sometimes it's hard work, but it's worth the rewards.
It sure is. It absolutely is. And I think that those defining lifetime memories, that's a character question for you. I think you've got to ask yourself that question. If I was laying in the casket today and people were eulogizing my life, standing over my casket, my kids walked by, what would they say about me? It's a challenging thought, right? As your arms are crossed and you're listening and people think, man, is he dead? And it's like, yeah, he's really dead. But they're saying things about you that are reflective of what your life was like. And if right now, if you're reflecting on your life thinking, man, I'm not sure what they would say, great opportunity to ask your spouse, if they're older, even ask your children.
Yes.
Any other thoughts on that? No. All right. That's our formal devotional. Oh, and by the way, I think the last thing I do want to say is that, again, think of the Gospels that way when you read them.
Yes.
With Jesus, that's all it is just memories and the impact he's had on those people around him. And that's the real power of memories, whether it's in your life or in your marriage or in your parenting. Amen?
Amen.
All right. Now for the personal part. We have next to us here, I'm going to point to it here, is a hope chest. And this hope chest was built by me back before Averly and I ever got married. Now, I don't know if you know what a hope chest is. Very popular in the South. But a hope chest is actually something that women in the South used to keep special treasures in and get ready for marriage.
Yes.
Special dress. They would have things in there like
blankets,
quilts, towels.
You were preparing to say I do and preparing for your home.
Exactly
so this
right.
was crucial if you were a Southerner.
So let's talk through a couple instantaneous memories in Bill and Averly's life. Before we got married, I went back to visit Averly. I built this hope chest with the help of my father, and I put it, shipped it from California to Virginia. Now, this is before Amazon existed, so it's a long haul from California, and no idea when this was going to arrive, but I did it and ordered it. I went to visit Averly, and we were staying at her sister's house.
Yes.
Any other color you want to add to that story?
Yes. I used to live with my sister before I got married, and so this hope chest probably took 2 or 3 weeks to arrive from California. The day that it arrived, before I opened it, I had decided that I was going to break up with you.
Why would you do that?
I know. I was going to break up
Naval
with
Academy
you.
graduate. Anyway.
I was going to break up with him because I thought I just can't deal with some of the ways that he has. Honestly, he had gotten really drunk the night before and was throwing up all over my sister's floor. And so I'm thinking, I'm not spending my life like this. I'm done.
So there's an instant memory right there. This is what we're talking about, creating instant memories.
And so then the next day, this hope chest arrived, and I unpacked it, and on the inside it says, to Averly with love, Bill. To Averly with love, Bill. And it's got the date on it. And I opened it up, and I just started to cry. And I'm like, this is a sign. And now, as a Christian, I know that was God just totally saving our marriage. Here we are, almost 41 years later.
That's right.
And the hope chest was the start.
That's right. Very cool. Well, that's it. Well, thank you so much. We just really appreciate all the different memories that we've had in our marriage. Grateful for letting us share, and we hope this has been an encouragement to you as well. Take care. Bye-bye.